hope everyone had a chance to take. Am I misspeaking again? Okay, then I'm not even remembering my minutes. Hold on, let me pull them up. I know that I reviewed and commented.
I did make 1.5 changes, 2 changes. They're related since I last sent them, but it was just that I, on Steve's request, that I took off when he showed up, and then that he missed the approval of agenda by acclamation.
Okay. Fair
Thank
enough.
you very much. So I think for purposes of minutes, if you show up and you don't object, whatever happened, you bought it.
Right. That's
So
right.
It doesn't really matter when
You
show
bought
up.
it, come what may, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
All righty. Did anyone else have any questions or comments about the minutes? Then without objection, we will approve the minutes of Wednesday, January 8th, 2025. And hearing no objection, those minutes are approved. Thank you, everyone. The next item is office updates. Director Duncan.
All right, I only have one since our last meeting, and that is breaking news. Staff doesn't even know about it yet. But the NCADE and the board association and the state board want to come together and do a district meeting. So usually we have North Carolina Directors Association meeting, district meetings. So they want to combine and do those in the next few months. And so we have tentatively chosen a date that Buncombe will host, and that is March 28th. And it would be about, 3 or 4 hours, and lunch would be provided. So that would be board members and staff, and the state is looking to do a guest speaker for us. So that's something that the board, it's the NCADE, North Carolina
Association of Directors of Elections.
Yes, and the board, the state board, but also the board association. So there's a association for board members, which they're trying to revive that, and that's part of this effort. Right. So they'll kind of talk about what they do and all of that. So save the date.
And who would be here on March 28th?
Who would be here on March?
So, well, there's folks coming.
Okay, so Karen Brinson Bell will
Right.
come, and then some other state people, as well as the board association, at least one person from the board association, and then all the boards in District 1, and there are 12 people,
Okay.
12
Okay.
counties
So this
in
is
District 1.
this is a big.
Yep,
So this is not going to be in this boardroom?
No.
no, it will be at 200 College downstairs.
Okay.
So, if we got 100% participation, it'd be about 115 people. I was joking that I could take the voter turnout for each district, and that's how I'll figure out how many people will come to this. But we'll do a RSVP and narrow that down, and figure out lunch too. And the board association is paying for the lunch.
Okay. Good. March 28th.
March 28th.
What time?
It'll be about 4 hours. We haven't nailed that down yet, but thinking like 9 to 1 kind of thing.
Good.
Yeah, it'll be nice to host something.
Any more updates?
That's it.
That's it. Wow. All righty. Thank you. Anyone have any questions about the March 28th? Moving right along, the next item is the item. It'll be at 200 College Street in Asheville. And the next item is about election facilities. We've had 2 or 3 meetings where we've addressed the subject of a proposed move of election services from 59 Woodfin Place to 35 Woodfin Street. And at our last meeting, we pulled together some items, some ideas that we were interested in sharing with county management. And we worked on that a bit, revised it. It was recirculated with revisions. And I was wondering if anyone had any questions or comments, additional proposed revisions, any ideas on this thing?
You're talking about the resolution or the statement?
Yes. That the statement is where the meat is. The resolution is just a question of the manner in which we're going to communicate with county management. But what we were trying to do was capture all of our thoughts, all of our concerns, questions in the two-pager.
As far as the resolution goes, it looks good to me at this point.
Mhm.
Because like, I heard you say you didn't want to lock yourself into something in that statement.
Well, there's also anything we attach to the resolution ends up circulating with the resolution. And I was concerned about all of the, this laundry list and associated detail. The main thing we want to do is sit down with county management and talk about this move, talk about the proposal, and see what we can do to set things up so that election services has as good an outcome on this as possible. Mr. Aceto, as we engage the county on this subject, did you have any suggestions or advice? The resolution envisions having 2 members of this board sit down with county management for such a meeting. That was just one person's idea. We could do it some other way.
Yeah, I don't feel strongly about that. I think, I feel like the chair speaks for us. Somebody, you talk me into something else. Really has to do with your judgment of the optics and the politics.
Well, the reason I wanted 2 people is I wanted to have true bipartisan representation as we met with county management on this, so there wouldn't be any question in their minds about where the board was coming from on this. And I think it's generally a good idea to not go into a meeting such as this by oneself if one can bring a colleague or an ally. And
Yeah, like I said, talk me into it. I think the more critical aspect is our stakeholders and how we as a board direct them, and their input prior to such a meeting. Whoever, regardless of who goes in there on behalf of the board, it would be nice if they're there to receive questions that are raised by the stakeholders, rather than getting our simple input into it. I think that's kind of critical here. If we want to get an outcome that is tailored to this organization's operation, then the public stakeholders need to come in and speak for us. We need a favor. And again, talking me into something, what's the best, most effective way for them to make that input? I'm not really sure. But those concerns need to be expressed to, at some level, the county government.
okay,
I just-
I'm wondering what we could do in the short term to document those concerns or those questions that various stakeholders might have. We've had the benefit of having folks in the audience at these meetings, and we've heard from them, but I'm guessing that you're envisioning something beyond that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about specifically these, the party chairs, starting with that. And then input from organizations like Common Cause, Women Voters, those who have been here or here again and again, can remind the board of that they are concerned enough that they have a regular presence at our meetings.
Mm-hmm.
They never skip a meeting.
Right.
And I think that's what I task them with is communicating the fact that what we do physically has an impact on voter confidence, and that we've got to a place that everybody's comfortable with, and but that doesn't mean it's not fragile. So I'd really like to. I'd like for some of these folks who really have the bigger dog in the fight. So how would they engage? They should provide a written record of their concerns, something other than copying ours, but it ought to reinforce ours. And I would like to hear that they would request meetings with somebody, whether it's Averill or request to appear before the board or itself. Yeah, I think they just need to bring it.
Well, I'm thinking that the stakeholder groups can let us know what their questions and concerns are, and we could share those with county management. I'm a little concerned about setting this up so that there would be numerous groups or numerous individuals who wanted to engage county management on this, because this is in fact this is a board issue. It's not the public's issue, and we're here representing. We're appointed by these two big political parties, and we arguably represent those political parties on this board. Help me streamline this thing somehow.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point, because we do have a representative role. Also, I like I share the concern that we get a big crowd in here and then kind of we end up losing control of what the thing was all about to start with.
Well, I know that there was a letter that was sent from the Republican chair to Kathy as the Democrat chair. I don't know if that chair changed positions now already? Or?
No, not.
So Kathy is still the chair?
Yes, there's an election. She's not?
That last Wednesday, she's not.
That was last Wednesday? Okay.
I think next, this coming Saturday.
Now it's Kristen,
Well, not,
well,
she
she's
hasn't been
interim.
elected yet.
She's interim.
Well, at the time that the letter was sent, she was still the chair.
Okay.
And so it detailed his concerns and asked if they could get together on establishing these concerns.
Okay.
And I haven't seen any follow-up. I can find out, but there has been at least some communication there that he believed this to be a bipartisan kind of issue that both needed to get together on. Now, I don't know if the ask would be for each one of them to send us a letter detailing their concerns that we could then present at our meeting.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I mention having it go through us is the stakeholder groups have not had the benefit of the tour that Mary Ann and I had today.
Yeah.
or some of the discussion that we've had in here, because not everybody's been here all the time. I'm wondering how we could get these folks better informed. I mean, I appreciate the fact that people come to the meetings, they participate, but I'm wondering, how are they supposed to know about these concerns? I mean, they hear them from us, but I don't know how they're going to know about them otherwise.
Yeah, I'd hate for it to come out like an echo chamber. We complain, they hear it, they repeat the complaint.
I think what I'd like to do is revise this email or memo or whatever to state that the concerns enumerated here reflect the concerns of the board as well as community stakeholders who attend and participate in our meetings. And I could reference the parties and the league and Common Cause.
Yeah, at a minimum, I think that's
Okay,
certainly worth doing.
okay. Just so that county management understands that this isn't just the board, but there are prominent stakeholder groups who are sharing this view about the move. Okay, reference.
I'd like to see information from the public, but at the same time, I don't foresee this being one meeting that's coming up. I see this maybe being a meeting with Tim Love first,
Oh, yeah.
and then to Avril from there.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that would be sufficient, but I'm not counting on that.
Yeah.
So, after looking at the space, I think it's worse than I thought it was looking at it on the diagrams. As far as access for our own staff is difficult. Access for the public would be really confusing as to how do you get into the building and then get down to the basement to the boardroom. They're saying, well, they're going to put up signs. I still think it's difficult. You're traveling down numerous hallways and taking elevators, and you're going, am I in the right place or am I not in the right place? I mean, that's just access. But the amount of space around our specific space on, I guess that's first floor and
The
or
second floor, the second floor upstairs, yeah.
there's just this vast gray space that we're going to have the possibility of, we have no idea, of people from what department. We assume they're departments within the building. But nobody's actually told me whether it's strictly those departments that are in the building or
Yeah.
if any county worker can just
Yeah.
wander into these drop-in places.
Let me suggest that I think this memo, the further focus of this memo, any further edits, and the message that's delivered, that the bumper sticker version is that this department is different. And why? Because I'm hearing
Yeah.
that, you know, this has turned into kind of a casserole approach. Like, okay, why can't you share? That's kind of what I get out of it.
Right.
And that, yeah, it's another county agency, you know, are you just stuck up or what's your problem? So, I'm hearing that partly because this thing got handed off in the middle of the consideration to somebody who was basically starting over, if I heard that right.
Yeah, you did.
That is the critical message that hasn't stuck yet. Why is this department different? And that, you know, and wherever is messaging the county at whatever level, that's the, I like to get them on, let's get the message discipline going on that point. Why is this department different? And why does it matter? So, I think this memo is, you know, it's good. I would like to see it pushed in the direction of that the message of the memo is why this department is different.
Agreed.
Because, you know, even if we land points with specific aspects of the plan, it's still gonna change.
Right.
So there has to be a message that reverberates every time there's a change to the plan, that we don't have to go back and tell the story over again. This is why we're different. So, and that's why, to start this off, I was suggesting that we get on the same page about why we think we're different. So that we've got the right message discipline going. And that's been a good outcome of this, I think, is to talk about that. But so, in other words, I don't think the objective of this memo or any input is so much to introduce specific objections or specific changes at this point, but to say these, when we talk about concerns, we're talking about why election services is different from anybody else that's going to be using this building,
Agreed.
and make sure that one lands. And as you look at these edits, that's what I encourage you to do.
No,
do you see
Marianne
that?
Marianne and I are laughing over here because Marianne and I took a tour today, and it got over a little more quickly than we expected. And so we adjourned to this room, and we talked about the very thing that you
Yeah.
are talking about now, sir.
That's
And I-
progress, man. We got to get on the page. I think we are.
Yeah, I
Well,
think we are too. It's a matter of
told
just
Jake,
getting
I
it on.
don't believe the county truly understands that this board is not an administrative board that runs by county policy. I don't think they understand that election services is not just a department of county government that runs by county policies. We have this big book that tells us exactly what we have to do, when we have to do, how we have to do it. And it's not a choice into whether somebody at the county says, well, we've changed our policy on that. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I think that's what the bullet points have to be. Is not, we don't like 3 floors, we don't like this, or
Right, right.
whatever, or there's not, we don't have enough room for people to stop in front of the desk or whatever. It's what is a specific aspect? And I tried to, in my last edit, I tried to push it that way.
Uh-huh.
And I don't remember what I wrote. I didn't bring it. So, if you put it in there wholesale exactly the way I said it, then I apologize. But that is what, that's where I was going with edits, was, okay, how do we focus the bullet points on why we're different? And some specifics, of course, have to get brought alongside that.
Right.
Regarding the plan itself, so that it relates, but really, I'd like y'all to give us 6 points, 6 reasons why we're different,
Gotcha.
and kick it back.
Alrighty.
So
Would you like my opinion
Please.
on those 6 points that I just wrote down? Okay, elections are meant to be independent, and we should reflect that. Number 1,
yeah, independent of what?
independent of political pressures
Of
of any
government,
sort.
Of any sort, government or
government or political pressure.
yeah.
Correct. We are on a very strict timetable dictated by law.
Is that number 2?
Number 2, there's no redoing an election.
That's part of number
No
2.
redos,
There's
yes.
no redos. No
Correct.
do-overs.
Number 2. Number 3, we are complex both temporally and physically, and that complexity is increasing, and that's been a trend over 20 years. Not going to change. It's only getting more complex.
You might need to unpack that one a little bit, but yeah, that's number 3.
Well,
Okay.
we're complex, but also we're because this tells us we have to be. You
Yes,
know,
it's
the-
not-
I think the more we can remind them, we operate by statute, not by county policy. That's why we're different from any other department in the county, because they operate by whatever policy county officials decide is what they're gonna operate on. We don't.
Well,
And
they've
you have
argued
control.
with you about that some, but yeah.
I mean, we can't though.
Yeah, but they
There's-
see themselves as being operated under mandates as well. That, in that sense, the perception is not, that one doesn't land quite as hard as some of these other things. Keep going.
4, constant changes that we have to do immediately. We have to, the law changes, we have to implement
To our
it.
legislative mandate.
Yeah, legislative mandate.
That's really more what I want to get to, is that we
Well, it's
are, you know, that's
changes in
why I
the
say
book.
this. The law tells us how we have to operate, when we have to operate, you know, how we have to operate. We don't have a choice in any of that.
We have to pivot instantly.
Right.
And we don't know which direction. And that's part of the independence, is that you just,
You have to have the capacity to do that.
right,
We
you
have
have
to
room
be,
to maneuver. And
Yep.
that's,
we have to be good change managers.
mhm.
5 is we have a working board. Our board actually does work in the meetings. And 6 is that we are high profile. We have the media and the public's attention.
At every meeting. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think if you develop those
Okay.
and
Okay, and here's the interesting thing, if we, those items, I don't mind putting in a resolution. Because that's, I mean, this thing, as currently drafted, is just nitty-gritty office space considerations. But what we're talking about now, Steve, and thank you very much for that, is a higher level
Right.
of consideration. And these other elements in here flow from those higher level considerations. So if we document what those are, putting that out in public space actually makes sense, because that's not fighting, that's not nitpicking an office move. That's talking about who we are, what we do, and what we need to do to get it done properly.
in other words, you're talking about a high-speed rear-end collision between this resolution and this.
Right.
Which really means you're just gonna take 6 bullet points about why we're different, and that's gonna be your resolution.
And that's gonna be the
this
resolution.
other- all these words, too many words, really.
Well, yes,
Well, that can be something for the meeting.
exactly.
That's
Exactly.
for discussion.
That's right.
Absolutely, there's, at the next stage, it's time for words, more words. But at this point, it's time for some ideas.
What would be then the closing statement? We list those 6, and what is the statement that this move does not facilitate what we are in existence to do?
Well, we're gonna point out the concerns that we have. These, and thank you, Director Duncan. And our resolution is, we've got these concerns, we gotta sit and meet. We need to address these concerns with you before we proceed. So the resolve clause ends up being pretty much the same, but it's the whereases that end up being,
I think the conclusory paragraph is this one right after number 6. That's the full paragraph after number 6. And 1 through 6 is Corrine's memo. Is Corrine's. So in other words, you're going to take, for purposes of your resolution is basically it's here to here,
no,
right? It's just
no.
here to here. It's that right there. That's the resolution. And of course, it's different 6, but
Yeah, exactly, it's a different 6.
and then the rest of this, don't throw it away
Not about to,
because you're going to need it.
yep.
But
And you're talking about, and now therefore it be it resolved, and we put this paragraph in, the one that's after number 6.
wait a minute, where'd that other thing
No, that paragraph under number 6 it's one or more whereases.
I think you got enough warehouses.
But, well, I don't like the whereases. What I'm looking for in the resolution
Yeah.
is for the Board of Elections to agree that we need to communicate some stuff to county management. We're gonna have these 6 different items, independent, strict timetable, complex, temporally, physically, et cetera. And then with all of this, that's why we want to meet. And our resolution is to have 2 members of the board sit down with county management for this meeting, for this discussion. Now,
Okay. So
happy
you're saying
to revise
these are-
that.
These are whereases, and the resolution is the whatever, now let it be resolved, whatever you
Yeah.
call that.
Yeah, a resolve clause. right?
That's fine, not to change it. Just
Okay.
put another warm human being in there.
Right. Are you feeling warm?
Sure, why not? Can't dance, it's too wet to fly out. You know that expression, I assume?
Sally would like to clarify, the details that were in the statement that we are taking out will be used when the actual meeting occurs?
That is correct. Those are the details that we'll tackle with county management when we meet with them. But what we're going to set the table with is,
Oh, we're different.
yeah, well, we're going to define ourselves in a way that makes it clear to county management why we need additional consideration on this move. And it is the 6 items that we discussed today.
Agreed.
All righty.
Question. Have
Hey,
you
Kathy.
gotten any idea of why they're making this move? Why they're proposing to leave the site yet?
The board is not aware of it. I'm guessing that county management has some ideas on what they can do to be more efficient. But everyone probably heard in the past few days how the county is under the gun to reduce expenses, to cut the budget.
But this
And-
started long before that.
Sure. Oh, yeah. This effort started a year ago from the sound of it. But we don't know. I mean, we don't know the rationale. And that's one of the things that we're asking. Tell us why. Why are we doing this?
This is a pretty desirable location, I think, in the city. I would think somebody might like to take this building down for a hotel.
What, here? We don't know anything about this space. This space is owned by Buncombe County. This isn't leased. So, if there was a development idea, that's something that I'm guessing the commissioners would have already seen, and they haven't. One of the reasons that we've been focused on this is for a long time, there was an expectation that a county office building would be developed on Cox Avenue, at 50 and 52 Cox Avenue. And then another priority took that space. And so, okay, so what are we going to do with election services now? And this is what we heard. Oh, you're going to move to 35 Woodfin. And we still don't know. The board hasn't heard a rationale behind that. And that's one of the reasons we want to meet with county management, so we can communicate more effectively.
Well, it was up to me, Mr. Quinn, I'd put a piazza right here. I'd like a piazza, complete with a table. You know, some bistro heaters, I think a piazza would be good.
I believe over at 35 Woodfin, you would like all of the coffee break rooms.
Yeah, they have a lot of coffee break rooms and collaborative areas
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Sally also would like, sorry, to say, that instead of like to discuss, she would like to change that to request a meeting. And I
Right.
think that was in the first paragraph of that document, I believe, is what she was talking about.
Board members.
Or it might have been under the now, therefore be it resolved.
Yeah, but it's over here.
Yep.
Yeah, meet and discuss. Whether she
Request a
wanted-
meeting with county management.
So instead of discuss, say what?
Just request a meeting with
Like-
county management.
Yeah, to request a meeting.
Oh.
She feels it puts more clarity in the statement, is what she said.
Sure.
Sure.
Why not? Well, what's missing from that is who's gonna participate.
Mhm.
I mean, that's just, can we have a meeting, it doesn't say who. We might run that back by her, because that's why it reads that way, I think, is so that
Mhm.
you're, there's a.
Oh,
Who has
We're
authority?
we're authorizing a couple of people to go
Yeah.
do this meeting.
Yeah.
That's what the resolve clause is focused on, having the meeting and 2 members of the board doing it.
Yeah, it's a discussion about with who. The trains are gonna run on time, but where are they going? Okay. So, I'm sorry to stand up here, but I just feel like I'm on the other end of the world. I don't have Sally and
Glenn in here, yeah.
So, I'm looking at at your resolution, and I'm thinking, that's the first whereas, Pumpkin County Election Service serves a unique function, because it has a magic word, unique in it.
So,
That the first whereas is, Pumpkin County serves, this is just exactly the paragraph that's already in here.
the whole thing, or just the first?
I'd say the whole thing. But it also gives them a little attaboy for their party success of the 2024 election, which is part of the context. It's essential. So anyway, and it was the county's support. So anyway, so that's whereas number 1. I think your existing whereases are fine. There's 2, 3, and 4. And then your 6 concerns as another whereas, your 6 particulars.
So you weren't getting rid of any of the other whereases, you were just adding?
I like whereases. Most of my career, I've been.
Whereasing.
I've been whereasing,
Good to know.
and I've been whereased on occasion. Okay, so, and then the now therefore, I think is fine. You just you just fill in the blanks with, whoever, Barron Trump or whoever you want, and talk to them.
Do y'all want to decide now who that would be?
Jake and Steve.
Okay, so far it's us.
Yeah, so far it's
We're Christianity and it is us.
not
And-
bearing trouble.
Steve, you leave on vacation tomorrow?
I'm going to be very gone to California and unobtainable from tomorrow until the 1st, and that whatever that week is, 1st of November, of February.
Of November.
If you need to get together before then I nominate Sally.
Yep.
I'm not Sally.
That's
She
Mary Ann.
volunteered, actually, to be honest.
That's Mary
That's
Ann.
me.
I'm not Sally.
I mean, Mary Ann. I'm not Sally. There's a country music song about that. Remember that? Yeah. Guy's talking in his sleep and she's complaining. Great song.
Okay, so we didn't change anything in the therefore, oh wait. What did you change the therefore? Be resolved, part 2.
Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Blount County Board of Elections that the board authorizes no, by the board. It is, we've got 2 resolve, we've got 2 elements of the resolve. The first resolved is we resolve to request a meeting with county management. And the second resolve is to authorize 2 members of the board to conduct that meeting.
And then, would you like to put the 6 points in this?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
and that will be in the fourth whereas. The first whereas is going to be the
Catch
big
up.
paragraph after the 6 on
You're
this
much
page.
further along than I am, right?
Well, but don't worry about it, don't worry, because we're not going to change it all right here, right now.
I think that we should try to do that if
Okay.
you want to vote on it.
Okay,
Yeah, you can cut and paste that one.
go
She
for it.
did that already.
Okay, so now therefore be resolved by the Buncombe County Board of Elections. By the Buncombe County Board of Elections.
That one,
I think you might want to leave it as the board authorizes the board chair and member Aceto to,
to one, request a meeting. Oh, no, I can put it all just in one resolve then. Okay. Authorizes the board chair. How do you put this?
I
The
mean, I like the two, most of.
just
them-
authorizes Jake Quinn and Steve Aceto to request a meeting with county management.
We're gonna attend it. The board is requesting it.
Right, the board's
requesting a meeting.
So what if we have a number one that's the
Yeah.
board
Yeah, that's what I had.
requesting, and number two
two,
Yeah.
that
is.
Yeah, I think you're right.
authorizing, right, okay,
It's
so
gonna
it
flow
is one
better.
and two under the resolve, so.
Authorize it. 'Cause
Be
the
resolved
county
by the Buncombe County
management's
Board of
gonna say they don't wanna
Elections
talk
that,
to Jake.
one, the board authorizes the board chair to request a meeting, and two, authorizes Quinn and Aceto to attend, participate in that meeting.
The above. The board.
Worst index
yeah, I think it could be the board requests the meeting and
Yep.
authorizes Jake and Steve.
Yep.
Yep, that's the
Way to do
idea.
it.
That's the idea.
Okay. Oh, that mess.
And did you want to leave it Steve, or did you want to say Steve Aceto or Mary Ann Vrain?
Member Aceto?
That's fine, let's go or, because.
Yeah,
if-
yeah,
if-
go with
Because
or.
if this thing comes up before I'm back,
Do it or, yeah.
With the date of move-in date, the sooner we can do it.
yeah, I mean,
At least for the initial meeting, because this
that's
will be an
right.
initial
Right.
meeting.
You don't wanna have to say, oh, just kidding, we wanna step right up.
Let's work on the 6 other points.
Is that the last whereas?
It is the 1, 2, 3, fourth whereas.
I thought we had.
The last whereas will be, whereas the board seeks to learn more about the proposal and have its questions and concerns shared with county
So
management.
we want there to be 5 whereases, but you want the last whereas to be the one that's currently the
Whereas
last
Correct.
whereas.
these are the board stated concerns.
Yeah, it's the fourth whereas where we have the 6 elements of concern.
So the elements of concern are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Are those elements of concern, or are those
Well, it's.
characteristics of
We're
election
characteristics
services?
of
Yeah,
our
right.
organization.
Right.
That's what they
I
are.
would say
We're
so.
not, this is not our concern with their plan.
Mhm.
This is.
This is who
this
we
is
are.
Our distinctives.
Right.
This is context, it's what we're bringing to the plan.
Whereas,
I want to repeat the unique, these are our unique
They should sound unique,
Yeah, okay.
and I think they are.
So how do we refer to them? As our functions, as our,
What if it flowed from the first whereas? Because the first whereas talks about Buncombe County Election Services serves this unique function.
Right.
And then specifically,
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
I
6.
agree.
Okay.
That's better.
yeah.
That works.
I don't think it needs to be a separate whereas. It's just, instead of and, it says specifically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good.
Do you, what do you think for the six? It's just one.
So the board definitely needs to agree on the wording for these 6 things. But, so the first one's independence. How do we want to state that?
Is what,
Independence.
Okay, our facility should reflect our need to be and to appear to be independent.
or should it just say, should
Oh.
reflect we are independent?
Of political, or, well, you said it now. Can you resurrect the way you put that? 'Cause it was,
I said any political pressures.
Or governmental?
yeah, that'll work.
So are you going to make those 1, 2, 3s? Specifically, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. All right, and then the second one is our strict timeline reflected by
state board has this
law.
independence.
Deadlines.
I'm looking for something that says something similar.
Deadlines are strict,
Deadlines.
just not
dictated
finding
by law.
Deadlines for action.
Say
Strict,
that again?
strict deadlines for action. Mandated by statute.
Deadlines by action.
Deadlines for action, mandated by statute.
Excellent. The
No,
fourth
but
one,
it's the very
third
last
one, I'm
clause on
sorry,
State Board of Elections.
is about our complexity.
6328, okay.
Oh.
Complexity of operation. And you had mentioned though, that it's changeable, that was part of the complexity? Or is that
So
another bullet
that it's
point?
increasing complexity in both time and space.
Yeah, requiring physical room to maneuver. We've got a question about that one.
How do you spell maneuver?
MANEUVER. Unless you're Canadian or English,
I don't
in
know.
which case you get a whole bunch of extra vowels for nothing.
Thank you. I didn't get close enough on my first try for it to tell me
Yeah.
how to actually spell it.
That's because it thinks you're Canadian.
I think so.
I do think it should say something about how that the complexity is increasing. Increasingly complex operations.
Mandated by changing laws.
Yeah.
and growth in our population.
Well, now wait, now you guys are getting to bullet number 4,
Oh, okay.
constant changes.
Oh, yeah. All right, cool. We need more bullet discipline.
I think we should take out the physical overage. Okay, I think that's it. 4. Yeah, constant. Changes. I mean, I think that is good. Constant changes by legislative mandate.
By legislative and judicial mandate. We get our changes from all different directions.
Requiring prompt attention. The last one, oh no, we have 2. So how our board is quasi-judicial and has tasks that are completed during board meetings.
Yeah, the working board.
Yeah.
Now, what does the working board mean? Yeah. They are quasi-judicial and administrative tasks.
All right, and then the final one is
Everybody's
high
watching.
profile, yes. We want to word that.
All of this work occurs under strict public scrutiny that is growing with each election.
And what about that the media covers?
Well, I think one of the things you want to speak to is the fact that you not only spend more time, but we end up with more people in this room, we end up with more people looking at everything we do. So we stream our meetings, we stream our machine testing, we do everything we can as openly and transparently as possible. A, because it's good public policy, but B, because everybody is looking so closely. There's a set of expectations that I think keeps getting stronger every election. People are very insistent about all these different elements, and it used to be so much easier. People weren't fighting over this stuff. Now they do, whether it's election observers or election officials, hours for early voting. There's all kinds of.
What about saying high profile, including large public involvement,
Media coverage.
media coverage?
Say extensive media coverage.
Sorry, high profile including public.
High public involvement,
High degree of public involvement.
which was wonderful.
Yeah, it is. Makes it
All
work
of this
better.
is good.
And media coverage.
Or something for, like, a descriptive of media, I feel like somebody said.
Extensive media coverage.
something about a scrutiny by groups.
Scrutiny by stakeholder groups. And that can be parties or
Which is also
nonprofits.
positive.
Yeah, there could be a petition drive for that matter.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
What about strong public interest? Okay. Want to read those for refinement?
Okay, so, reading from the first whereas, I'm gonna read the last sentence that leads into it. The operations of election services as well as the optics of its operations must continue to reflect impartially and integrity, or, yeah,
Impartiality.
to maintain the hard-won confidence of our community in the electoral process. Specifically, the facility should reflect our need to be and appear to be independent of any political pressures. Strict deadlines for action mandated by statute. Actions. Increasingly complex operations. Constant changes by legislative and judicial mandate requiring prompt attention. The Board of Elections is quasi-judicial and has administrative tasks during board meetings. High profile, including a strong public involvement, extensive media coverage, and scrutiny by stakeholder groups. And whereas.
Okay, so what is the clause that introduces those 6 items? If you could just read that whereas from the beginning, whereas.
From the beginning.
It's that whole paragraph following the 6 on your
Yeah.
sheet.
So whereas Buncombe County Election Services
Because
serves
it currently
a-
has, okay, and then.
Serves a unique function.
Equality of customer service. Oh, wait, I'm looking at the wrong one. That's my confusion.
There you go.
As well as officers must continue to reflect impartiality and integrity to maintain the hard-won confidence of our community in the electoral process, period. Then how do you transition to the 6 items?
So right now we have specifically comma, so I think we need to say something like, specifically, the Board of Elections is unique.
It is unique, and its space utilization needs are unique. And its
Or
space
space
needs-
requirements.
Space requirements are unique. Yeah, that's good. Its space requirements are unique.
I think
And
it's
you say the Board of Elections or Election Services? Yeah.
election services.
Election Services is unique among county.
Just
Bar.
unique in its need.
Yeah, it's unique.
Its
That's fine. They know what they're
spatial
talking about.
requirements.
So I think it should be election services is unique in its requirements, specifically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
Do you like that?
Say that again out loud.
Election services is unique in its requirements, specifically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It is unique and its requirements are unique, specifically.
ready for a printout time for people to review.
We are always ready for a printout.
I think it's printout time.
Okay.
Before I print it out, the title currently says the board chair and GOP counterpart. Do you want me to?
Well, there is
Just
no
take out the
GOP
parentheses.
counterpart. There's a GOP representative.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
GOP representative?
Yeah, they don't. There's only one board chair. He doesn't have a
Board
counterpart.
chair and
Right,
GOP
right,
member,
right.
because we refer to ourselves
Good.
as board members.
Good.
Yes, please.
You're gonna send to Sally a copy?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm getting all these emails about things in California that are catching fire, as if I should be concerned. I guess you can burn a Joshua tree.
All right.
Oh, I think we're doing better than
AK, did you already send to Sally?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so everyone should have the draft, trying to keep us together.
Oh, and Glenn's asking for it, so I guess he's listening. Hi, Glenn.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, let me go email to him.
Yeah.
I say it ain't broke. What do you say?
It's good to me.
think it should say specifically the facility should reflect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because we are doing two things in the bullet points.
Okay.
I can, that's,
Well, if it did anything here, instead of our need, it's election services need.
yes.
No, Needs?
Yeah, just swap out election services for our on that first bullet.
Did y'all also read, like, all the way to the bottom where I changed the after to where, therefore?
Change the what?
The now therefore
Request
be
meeting.
resolved part of it, I also added earlier in the meeting, I just wanted to make sure that,
To request a meeting.
so, you know, but.
Yes.
I feel like this first one should not say the facility should reflect. It should just be that election services has a need to appear and be independent of any political pressures.
Yeah, I agree.
Election services has.
Yeah, we'll
a
deal
need.
with the fact that our facility needs this when we get there.
Correct.
That's right.
Election
That's
services
exactly right. That's good.
Do you, should I leave those blank commas, do what I do at the end of all of these? I really don't care, but,
It'll confuse this one if you
yeah,
do that.
that's why I was kind of.
Leave it. Okay. Okay.
Linda's typing something. Oh, received, looks good to me.
How is Sally feeling?
I like Steve, I think we take all of the Rs and Ws to all election services. There's a we in the first paragraph.
Don't we in the first
Yeah,
paragraph?
when we faced, fifth line down in the middle. When we faced unforeseen hardships.
Yeah. Agreed.
Is that the only other one people have seen?
We went through this once, but we missed some.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, do we, once again, since we're talking about election services, do we put that in each one of the sixth? In other words, election services
Yeah,
needs
what-
to be,
I'm with you. I
to
think
be
we
and
put
appear
it-
to be.
I think we-
Election services has strict deadlines for action mandated by statute. Election services has increasingly compact.
I think it can say specifically election services
Right,
So we just say
specifically,
it once.
election services,
Colon, something.
needs to be and appear
Okay.
to be independent of any political pressures, must meet strict deadlines for action mandated by statute, engages in increasingly complex operations,
I agree.
responds to constant changes by legislative and judicial mandate requiring prompt attention, that sort of thing. We need those verbs.
Okay. I don't think.
That's
No,
really
I
good.
just-
You
no,
lead
I
off
just
with
realized I
verbs,
was editing the one
I
that I
like
sent to
that.
Sally, which isn't saved.
as opposed to leading off with herbs.
When you're ready.
And you get to bullet 5 and it's not about election services.
No, election services is high profile, including a strong.
Number 5, the Board of Elections is quasi-judicial, has its administrative.
Oh.
I'm trying to figure that out with that, with the specifically comma election services.
Election services is overseen by a board of elections.
Okay, very good.
That is.
Okay, and ready for,
Okay.
What's your verb on number 6?
Election board, for specifically election services, has a high
Has, okay.
profile and strong public involvement, extensive media coverage and scrutiny by state regulators.
right, will you go back, so number 1, we already have, right, election services has a need, what was number 2, election services?
Well,
Let's-
election services needs to be, or has a need. What did you guys decide?
Number 2 is must meet strict deadlines.
I hadn't changed anything in number 1, I guess
Okay.
is my answer. Just meet strict deadlines.
Must meet. Number 3 is engages in increasingly complex operations.
Engages in increasingly, okay.
Number 4 is responds to constant changes.
Okay.
Number 5 is overseen by a Board of Elections. That is quasi-judicial.
Election services is overseen by the Board of Elections, that was quasi-judicial.
By a Board of Elections. It's gotta be indefinite.
And then the last one is election services.
Has.
Has a high profile. Strong public involvement.
I'm gonna
Very
suggest
good.
change to number 5.
What?
Board of Elections is quasi-judicial and has lengthy and complex administrative tasks.
Ooh, I like that. I love them
During
being
board
complex.
meetings.
Actually, I don't really like them.
You
But
just
I
have-
do.
but you
them.
do it.
But you do it, yes. Yes, we do. And I think, take it number 1 is just needs. Needs to be and appear to be.
Election services needs to be and appear to be. Yeah.
That's sufficient. Yep.
Needs to be and appear to be independent. Okay. Do you want me to read them or reprint them?
Well, just tell me if I'm being too weird about it.
No, I think-
Probably am, but after each one of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I would put a semicolon, and to get to each one, and then I'd put a period at the end of, oh wait, no, it's a whereas clause, so it's gotta go into the next one.
Mhm.
Just talk about
Yeah.
Oh.
I know, it's
Yeah,
weird, right?
Careful, too many words.
I
Yeah,
think-
let
I
it
think
be.
it's
I'm
fine.
sorry I said anything.
Too many
No, I had
words.
the same,
Too
like.
much ink.
Yeah,
Too
you're
Yeah.
right.
much clutter.
But,
Yeah.
but once I saw that whereas following, it's like, throws off.
If it was the last one or whatever,
Yeah.
yeah. but
No, I get
Although,
that
when you
one.
get to the resolve clause, at the very bottom,
Concerns about the proposed move, semicolon, and number 2, the board authorizes. That one, you need the semicolon and the and in your resolve
we've
clause.
never done
Yes, you
that
do.
in any of the other ones. In our other resolutions, we don't and, we have periods after all of them.
Yeah, and that's because they're improperly drafted.
You have signed each and every one of them.
I'm a flexible guy.
I think that you all made very
More
good
than-
revisions.
More than a little bunkum
I
today.
think we what?
Made very good revisions. This is
Jackie
a
Duncan, I wanna
superior
thank you- I
draft.
want to thank you for the 6 items, and I want to again thank my colleague, Mr. Aceto, for helping us get down
Thank
this,
you,
this
and you
road.
understand my function on this board is to supply bunkum.
Mr. Aceto, I can think of no one more qualified.
I would like a copy.
Okay.
I appreciate it so
Does
much,
anybody
sir.
else want a copy, so we know exactly?
Yeah, let's just,
Yeah, well, and I should
Let's
probably
just do
email it to Sally
Thank
Yeah.
you.
just so that they can.
and so, yeah, and I'm sorry, I should correct the record and note that all 5 members of this board are participating in today's meeting. Thank you, Mr. Schultz.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he is, virtually. It's okay, I didn't know until he asked for a copy of what we were looking at. I was like,
And,
oh.
and Mr. Schultz encountered the same Teams troubles that Ms. Stein encountered. So, and I've got my own little IT thing here, so we're going to have to straighten out some items.
Just to clear, so
That's right.
you want me to do concerns about the proposed move, semicolon, and is there anything after the and?
No, just the number 2 is already there.
Okay.
The second resolved, the second item of the resolve clause.
Okay, any other, changes before I print these again?
Um,
Review to see if there's any other changes?
So, and you've got the redraft of Resolution 2025-01. If you could print that one too, that'd be cool.
That,
Just the resolution that we're doing. This is all one big thing?
I was just gonna reprint the resolution, which is what we're
Okay,
working
good.
on.
Yeah.
Good,
We-
okay, yeah, okay.
We haven't really touched.
Yeah,
the
the way that other one
one.
just disappears. Wow. Okay, yeah, we're not gonna do anything with the other one today.
Yeah, the other one's just talking points anyway.
Yeah, we're doing this.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, if you could just print that, that'd be wonderful.
Started the printing, I'm gonna email.
Email to our 2 virtual
Yes,
colleagues.
'cause it was
I think this is a much more focused
Yes.
Yeah, no, thank
approach.
Do you want a cleaner
record
copy
level.
too?
And that's what we need. Policy and program.
It can still say draft, that doesn't matter to me, I just want
Got
to,
this, we're
all the
almost there.
changes.
Yeah, well, I would, yeah, I'd only have one that didn't have the draft if y'all, but I just wanna make sure there's no other changes. Update of 2. Child. I got my before. Open this and make sure it's the right one. We're gonna close it, so don't get confused again. That one open. Send that. And then I will go close.
Yes. Is everyone staying warm? No frozen pipes or anything?
I won't know that until the thaw occurs.
That's right.
Ah.
We don't know. We don't know.
Oh my goodness, where'd that gusher come from? I think I'm okay. The weather wasn't as severe as I had expected.
You?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if any of the board would like chocolate, I already offered it to the.
Thank you, I'm trying to quit.
I thought the idea was to say specifically election services, so we didn't say it over and over again.
Right. Yeah.
Do you mind?
So the idea was specifically election services, so we don't say election services over and over again.
Oh, I did not understand that at all. Sorry.
Actually, I don't mind it.
It's okay, but-
Do action words.
Hmm?
That's why I thought
Likes
it was
that.
weird, but when I read it, y'all.
Must meet, engages, responds.
Okay.
Action. Who's overseeing this kind of task?
So we're basically just gonna mark out election services in the 6.
And put
Okay.
it specifically
And
election
put it
services.
specifically.
Yep.
Okay.
Perfectionando.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Nice and clear.
So, would number 5 start with is?
Thank you very much.
Election services is overseen. That's what Jake just said. All right. She's messaging Sally.
Right. All the media, video,
Yeah.
texts.
What we need is a system that works so that we don't have to do all of that. Okay.
Glenn says, looks even better. Sally says, got it and ready to vote. Will you make
Alright.
it clear that I did change that one part of it to them? I don't
Alright.
think it'll change their.
All right, colleagues, we all have a draft of resolution number 2025-01 before us. The title of the resolution is "A Resolution Authorizing the Board Chair and GOP Member to Discuss with County Management the Proposed Move of Buncombe County Election Services to 35 Woodfin Street." And under the first whereas clause, items 1 through 6, the term election services has been deleted. And right, thank you. Election service, the whereas paragraph and specifically comma election services : 1 needs to be, 2 must meet strict, etc. Anyone have any questions or comments on the proposed resolution?
That's fine.
I'm glad that members Stein and Schultz have had an opportunity to review it and have shared their opinions with Ms. Moore. I move that the board approve resolution number 2025-01. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Thank you. The motion carries 5-0.
Now let's wait for them to respond to me.
Well, I thought that we had already gotten an approval on the,
Well,
but, okay, I apologize for my hastiness.
I mean, she said she was ready to vote. Maybe she was gonna vote no against it. Sally says aye. Glenn votes yes.
All righty, thank you. The motion carries 5-0. Deeply appreciate the board's participation in this effort and Ms. Moore's very careful transcription. Thank you for sitting through the meeting. Have any questions, comments, anybody? Mr. Elam?
I just wondered if you
Oh.
maybe had too many uniques in there.
Are you
We're just driving the point home. No,
Actually, I think we removed some of those.
yeah, actually, I think we just have it appearing one time.
Oh, I heard it several times with that one.
It's in the.
It's just in the initial statement.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing it. Oh, I see, yeah, it is there, in there twice. Mr. Elam, did you have a question, comment?
Yeah, the statement that you're going to have with that resolution to the county, that you're gonna ask the stakeholders to, support your position. They should probably read that position, read the letter before you say that they agree with it.
Right, I think what we're going to do is a sort of a different tack on this. What we have done now is authorize the meeting. And prior to that meeting, I think it's incumbent upon us to reach out to the stakeholder groups. And we now have a document that we had drafted that has all of the gory details that we're concerned about. And I think that's what we want to share with our stakeholder groups. So what I'm expecting, let me bounce this off my colleagues, is we can take that document and as board members, we can approach different stakeholders and ask them for their review and comment and then bring that back here. Does that work for everybody?
Yeah.
All righty. Thank
So
you.
you're gonna send us a copy.
Good question.
So are y'all editing that one?
No, I mean, with the
No, what I'm,
election services removed, the one,
Yeah.
yeah, the one like you, the final copy,
Yes.
so that we
Right,
can
right,
use
right, right,
that
right.
to contact
I'll
other
copy it
people.
with it signed and everything too.
Oh, that'd be great, yeah.
I gave it back, right?
Mhm.
Okay, good.
Safe little
I'm looking for it,
dragon
I
nest.
couldn't see it. All righty, any more business to come before the board today?
I don't think so.
All right,
I think we
hearing
beat
none.
it to death.
Next
Oh,
meeting?
oh, yeah.
Yeah, actually, the next meeting is a week from today. Thank you, Steve. It is 3:30 on Tuesday, January 28th. And the
2:30?
3:30.
3:30.
The focus of that meeting will be board review and approval of the proposed budget. All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.